As always, we have some wonderful interviews
Yes, sir.
that have just really just been a blessing to so many people.
Hmm.
Tell me, what does it look like for us today? Who do we have with us today?
Well, we try to do diverse people that are doing things in the world and making major contributions. And this gentleman that I have today, I followed him for some time. He's doing so much to help expose so many people and their greatness. That's one thing that I do really, really admire about this gentleman. I'm going to
Hmm.
present to you and introduce to others Mr. Carlos Scott. Hey, good morning, Mr. Carlos Scott.
How's it going this morning, my brother?
It is going well. You are on the Wake Up Morning Show with Dr. LT and me, Robert Earl Dean.
All right, all right. Good to meet you there.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm
So,
looking forward to this, my brother. Looking forward to it. This is, Robert is a very positive brother. I always follow his posts and the things he's doing in the community, and it's great to be actually on you guys' platform this morning. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to shine the light on a humble servant such as myself.
amen, amen. So, brother Carlos, we wanted to start off right off the bat
Yes.
and say, um, uh, 8 Olympic gold medalists. You represent
Yes.
5 super
Yep.
star bowling champions. I mean, wait a minute,
Yep.
Super Bowl champs, multi-platinum Grammy
Uh-huh.
award winner. Man, you doing your thing. Can I borrow some money? Hello? Did we lose you? I think we lost her.
Oh man, because he's driving
Okay,
to a
so
service.
so here's the thing I want to let everybody know. Are you back, Carlos?
And yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
Can you
we
hear
had
me?
lost you right quick. Right when I asked you, can I borrow some money, you cut off. You, you,
Oh no.
that-
Yeah.
you know that's just how family will do you. You
Right.
be like, can I borrow some money? They be like,
Oops.
huh? Wait a minute. I got technical difficulties.
my
I can't
phone.
hear you.
No, no, I didn't hear that. But what I was saying, you guys can hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
we hear you now.
Okay, great. What I was saying is it's a humbling experience because I remember back to our very first Olympic gold medalist and our very first Super Bowl champion and even our very first round draft pick. And it's always, what do you call it? It's just a very humbling experience when you get a chance to experience a first with somebody in their career.
Right.
Whether it's their first Grammy, whether it's their first New York Times best-selling book, or what have you, because they're entrusting in us to do our job which is, we're a PR marketing firm. I don't know if Robert got a chance to go into that, but we specifically represent star athletes, entertainers, or what have you, off the field or off the court or off screen. And so we're the ones that when you see them on, whether it's the Oprah Winfrey Show or Good Morning America, Today Show, what have you, we're the one that's not only booking them, but we also do media training and coaching, so that we can have them prepared for those type of interviews. And unfortunately, we also, I ain't gonna say unfortunately, but we also do media crisis management. So sometimes you'll see my ugly face on ESPN or CNN or Black News Channel a lot lately, talking about various things in the media as it pertaining to politics, sports, entertainment, even Fortune 500 companies as they're going through their various media crisis moments.
Well, brother Carlos, we might need your help. Robert Earl Dean and I done had this big blow up, and we might need
Since
you.
when?
We might need you to come and
No,
mediate. Wait a minute. Let me finish. I got something here. You gotta to mediate. So we might need to be your clients because we plan to win the Stella this year. We need your representation. So we'll be
All
calling
right.
you.
Oh,
All right.
Yeah, we serious, Carlos.
Yeah.
You
the
know.
Stellars is great.
Yes. Yes.
Stellars is a great organization. We've been blessed to actually be involved with them over the years, and it's great. But the sad part is sometimes is that our stellar community doesn't always get the proper notoriety for the contributions that they do to mainstream.
Mhm.
That's
You know?
true.
So,
Yeah.
so let me ask you this question. You know, you are a African American man
Yes.
in America,
Yes.
and many
Yeah.
times this is the thing I've been preaching to young people, and now I got this example in you.
Yes.
I said everybody want to be on the field, but nobody talks about the agents and the
People that
PRs
work,
and all
yes.
the other jobs off the field that will allow you to be on the field with your people. So tell me, how many
Right.
Super Bowls now? Because you're not playing right now, you're not on the field, but how many Super Bowls have you went to, and how
Have
many?
you went to and how many? I've been to, personally and professionally, I've been to at least, man, probably 12.
12.
Yeah.
That's a
12
lot.
Super Bowls, yeah. But but there's a lot of Super Bowls as well. I've actually been to, let me correct it, I've been to actually 8 in the game. I've been to at least another 7 or 8 that we didn't go because sometimes NFL clients, you can understand that nobody wants to go to your high school girlfriend's wedding. So as an NFL player, if we're not playing the Super Bowl, a lot of those guys don't want to go.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Right. Makes sense.
so a lot of times what we'll do is I do convince them to come down to the Super Bowl cities because that's the first time that they're actually able to meet like the CEOs and chief marketing officers and other senior executives at these various corporations and brands
Right.
that I know, but they don't personally know our clients. And
Right.
so there's a lot of networking at the high level when you go down to the Super Bowl, NBA All-Star, the Olympics or whatever. There's a lot of high networking that we try to really get our clients to do during their playing days, because once they stop playing, those phone calls and return calls and emails are a lot slower when you don't have any tickets to give away.
So let me ask you this, Carlos. You represent some of the top athletes and people in the country. How can we get a special relationship via Robert Earl Dean to be able to get some of those special people on the interview so we can interview them also?
Sure, it's nothing but a thing. You know, as we're getting ready for, obviously the 2020 Tokyo Olympics was postponed due to COVID, so now it's 2021. And so there's a lot of preparation as we speak. I'm sure you guys have been seeing, especially if you follow USA Track and Field.
Yes.
Specifically, because that's a lot of the clients we represent are in track and field,
Right.
although we have represented Winter Olympic athletes as well. But I think that it's very imperative that they have an opportunity to not only, do what you call, your mainstream Today shows and whatever, but also to show some love to our black-owned media as well.
Come on, man.
So, I don't have any problem with that.
Right. Now, Carlos, my question is, how did you get started? Where did you go to college? How did it lead to the doors opening for what you're doing? Because, man, you are doing some major stuff. We just had one of your former clients, Greg Nixon, on here.
And just,
Yes,
I want to
yes.
jump in and say, I looked up the in the dictionary where it said big baller shot caller, and there was a picture of you right there.
No, not quite. But let me give you a little background on me. Ironically, I have a very kind of interesting kind of story with where I got to.
Right.
But make a long story short, I was the talent before I became the executive behind the talent. And I was a 4-sport athlete in high school. I played football, basketball, baseball, track. We ran cross country.
Wow.
And I actually was one of those people that had aspirations of being the next Bo Jackson or Deion Sanders, being a 2-sport athlete. And, we won 4 state championships in a row in track and field.
Wow.
Here in the state of Georgia from 87 to 90. And I was a part of 3 of them. And we also made it to the state playoffs every year for football.
Wow.
So, unfortunately, my senior year in high school, right after the basketball tournament, I got into a serious accident, and almost lost my life,
Jesus.
but through the grace of God. And so a lot of colleges actually at that point, obviously kind of backed off because they didn't even know if I was going to be able to walk again. And so, but nonetheless, as God would have it, I was able to rehab. I actually had got a bum kind of report. The hospital in my hometown was very notorious for bad reports. And so my ROTC instructor, I was in ROTC for 4 years, he told me, he said, Scott, if you can pass your physical, why don't you consider going into the military? Because you'll be an E3 and you'll be able to pursue your education, Well, through the grace of God, I actually was able to pass my physical at the MEPS, and I went into the Air Force. Now, the cool thing is, when I went into the Air Force, I actually got an opportunity to suit up and play football, basketball, run track. I even played on the softball team for the Air Force. We travel all around Europe.
Yes.
And so I got a chance to relive those opportunities until I had another surgery on my knee. Come to find out, I had glass left over in my knee, and from 2 years prior. And at that point, I just said, I'm gonna hang it up, and I started focusing on singing, and I got a deal to write songs, and I got out of the Air Force because I got a publishing deal as a songwriter.
Wow.
And one thing led to another. I always knew I wanted to be an executive. And so one of my best friends at the time, and we still like a brother, is Delano DeShields that played, 16 years pro baseball, 13 in the majors, first round draft pick out of high school. And he told me one day that he wanted me to join his organization for his studio and recording company. I thought about it, and I said, hey, I don't want to be just another producer. I want to be involved behind the scenes as far as like cultivating the talent, doing the media, training, and so I became an executive in that capacity. Then I had a business partner that we were doing events, and I had a event marketing company. And so I would always, like Terrell Owens, Charles Woodson, these were guys that, Garrison Hurst, these were friends of mine. And so what I would do is I would invite them and other athletes to our party. And one thing led to another. We actually saw a need that some of these guys needed good PR because they were great guys.
Right.
And Jerron Bolden with the Falcons at the time ended up being our very first NFL client. And he ended up having a crazy situation and making ESPN for all the wrong reasons.
Right.
And so we got thrust into media crisis kind of mode after his arrest.
Wow.
But we sorted it all out, whatever. But nonetheless, eventually, I decided to leave the talent alone. I stopped singing and acting and all that stuff. I've been in like 9 different films with Denzel Washington, Cicely Tyson, Queen Latifah, you name it. And so I just said, either I'm going to be the talent or I'm going to represent the talent, but I'm not going to do both. And I met a young man by the name of Hill Harper on the set of Mama Flora's Family back in like 98, I believe. And he and I have been the best of friends ever since then. And now he's like a A-list actor, 4-time New York Times best-selling author, philanthropist, but more importantly, he's a close friend as well.
Right.
So
okay,
so that's how I kind of got segued into that.
Well, you dropped Hill Harper's name, and you said he's a close friend. He's also a close friend with them Obamas, our favorite president. Is that your buddy too?
I got an opportunity to meet President Obama, then Senator Obama, for the first time at Oprah's house. They had a fundraiser. They had a fundraiser for at Oprah's house, and that ended up being an opportunity for several people. And I had one of my friends who was an agent as well to go, and I got a chance to meet him later at another fundraiser as well at Oprah's house, like a few years later. So, nonetheless, Hill to this day is PFS with the Obamas. Yeah, it's kind of crazy, but yeah, but he went to Harvard with Mr. Obama, and like you say, the rest is history.
Wow. So what I like about you is that you are helping. You realized that it was time to transition. That's one thing, and for two,
Right.
that you now are being like the umbrella for the artists, because as we know, a lot of these artists or these executives or these clients of yours came from poor backgrounds, and
Right.
when you first
Right.
get put into something that you're not trained for, it's easy to go crazy with overspending and getting caught up with the wrong crowds. You are the
Oh,
person
yeah.
who helps
Oh, yeah.
shield them and protect them.
Oh yeah, now, and it's funny you mention that because there are clients, potential clients, but even clients that when we start to represent them, especially in the NFL, NBA, or what have you, we make it known at the beginning. We're not going to be anybody's yes man, yes woman, or whatever. Our job is to help you to cultivate your brand and to protect your brand and to monetize it. But if you can't listen to the advice that we're giving and you want to go your own route, we have no problem parting ways.
Wow.
Because at the end of the day, it's our reputation on the line.
Come on.
Because at the end of the day, athletes come and go, but I still got work to do. When you retired and gone on, but I still have work to do. So, yeah.
I was going to ask you this question. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No problem.
and this is, and I don't want this to seem negative, but I want you to kind of help everybody understand, how difficult was it for you to get into the PR and the representation game? Because many times people think that you have to be of a different ethnicity to be successful in this. How do you navigate that,
That's
and
a good
how did you be able to convince athletes and people to come with your firm?
If I can be transparent, as my grandmama would say, some of these folks think that the white man ice is colder than the black man ice, and ain't nothing you can do about that. At the end of the day, it's just ice.
Come on.
And I go through that even to this day with my pedigree. I still go through that sometimes with some of the young, up and coming new athletes or whatever, or entertainers, and that may not, from the beginning, may not know our pedigree. And so, but then when we send over the presentation, or we send over some clips, or they get a chance to see our background, and they read that resume, it's like, oh, wait a minute, yeah, I'm not new to this, I'm true to this.
Come on.
And so, at the end of the day, there isn't anything, and I'm not prejudiced by any means. Some of my closest friends are white, Asian, or different hues.
Right.
And so I'm like, but there's nothing that those white PR agencies can do for you that we can't do for you from a standpoint of positioning your brand. The only difference is some of them have bigger agencies or whatever, but it's not about how big they are as much as it is that personal attention and how much are you going to be advocating, because a lot of times they'll go to a big agency only to find out that they're not even a priority over there.
Another number.
So they end up having to come back to us, where at least we understand them. Obviously we're African American agency, men and women, and so, but we understand some of the sensitive things that, let's just be perfectly honest, that sometimes the white publicists,
yes,
just wouldn't understand from a priority standpoint of view. And so, but yeah, it's been challenging at times, but I'm a man of faith, and I always say that there's nothing that God has for me that I haven't been kept from.
Come on.
So every client that we were supposed to represent, we represent. Everyone that we weren't supposed to represent, we didn't represent. And there have been people that have actually come to us wanting to back up a Brinks truck for us to represent their artists or whatever, but we had to respectfully decline, only because we knew that morally and everything else that there was going to be some issues And so we felt like, hey, I don't think this will be a great fit because at the end of the day, I want to make sure that our team, we're representing somebody that we can be proud of, and not somebody that every other week we got to put out a statement because you done got arrested and this, that, and the third. That's not, things happen.
Yes.
But not when it's self-inflicted.
Come on.
I'm not going to name any names. Sometimes some of these, especially the entertainers, have a tendency to self-inflict and bring things upon themselves because of their, kind of careless actions that they have, and they don't want any accountability.
Right.
And I'm one that I stand for accountability.
So let me ask you this question. You know how Oprah Winfrey has the many houses, and she has the guest house that's like Stedman's guest house. My question is, when we come to visit you, can we stay in your guest house?
Oh yeah, they got a Airbnb. A friend of mine has an Airbnb like right around the corner from where else, they got they got these good rates over here at the Hilton, the Hyatt. They gonna take care of it.
Right.
We gonna take good care of it.
Did you hear how he balled it? He said he got a hotel and an Airbnb. Boy,
He said his friend had one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't want to limit you guys to any kind of accommodations. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We don't want to limit your accommodations.
Yeah. So Carlos, one of the things that I love about you, just meeting you, is just how down to earth you are and how approachable, but how you live your faith out loud.
Yeah.
Tell me, as you're navigating through all the things that you've navigated over the years, the people that you have met over the years, I always tell people that you got to have kingdom citizens in high places to impact high people. How does your faith operate with being around all these different people? How do you express your faith with them and for them to receive you?
Well, first and foremost, you got to understand. I was raised in a God-fearing family. I come from a family of preachers, and matter of fact, I have an uncle that was honored by Carnegie Hall. He's been singing gospel over 70 years. Wow. And so at the end of the day, as a man of God, there's nobody that I fear other than God.
Come on.
So I don't care if you're the CEO of Coca-Cola or if you're Oprah. I don't go into any room like I'm worshiping anybody, because God is a jealous God. So I'm never gonna. I'm gonna respect you, but I'm not gonna worship you.
Right.
But at the same time, I think it's just, to be perfectly honest, when you get an opportunity to go, I've had an opportunity to actually go to people, and I promise you, I'm not name dropping, but just giving an example.
Right.
I've had an opportunity to go to events at Warren Buffett's house. I've had an opportunity to meet Bill Gates and Tim Cook and some other phenomenal people. And when Facebook was launching, some other platforms and going up and up, I've met Sheryl Sandberg and Mark Zuckerberg and some of the other executives, whatever. So I'm not necessarily, how can I say, I'm not
starstruck.
I'm not starstruck. I'm not starstruck. And you can't. And here's the deal. I have a joke that I tell our interns and young assistants, is that when you get ready to go to a place, act like you've been there before.
Yes.
Now, granted, this could be your first time, but act like it is something that my coach used to tell me. He called up a play, and they knew it would be a play that I'm going to score a touchdown on or hit a three-pointer or whatever. And the coach would say, "Hey, you're going to score on this play. Act like you've been there before. Get a ball to the referee and come on back to the side of the field. Act like, don't make a whole lot of hoorah about it." And I think that's the same mindset that I take. Even though I've had multiple clients, on the Oprah Winfrey Show, there's not any major national TV show, whether it's Steve Harvey, Ellen DeGeneres, The View, Today Show, Good Morning America, that we haven't either had a client on or don't have access to.
Wow.
And so, at the end of the day, I know what we bring to the table. So, but I'm still I'm more appreciative than I am braggadocious about it. And I think when you know whose you are, that protects you to help you know who you are.
Right.
And when I say who, at the end of the day, first and foremost, I'm a child of God. I'm a man of God.
Yes.
So any room that I go into, I'm unapologetic about whose I am.
Yes.
And if you got a problem with that, that's not a me issue. That's a you issue.
Come on.
So
Now, I want to say this to everybody. If you don't get nothing else today, I want you all to hear that he said that he is not braggadocious. That right there lets you know he a real brother. Because he said braggadocious. Man, you could preach that one.
Yeah, right. What I think it's important because his foundation and our foundation should speak for us.
Exactly.
No matter what situation we're in, if you are comfortable in your own skin, you should never change who you are, no matter where you are.
Yeah.
no matter where you are. And another reason to piggyback on that, Robert, is because and I tell, especially athletes, more so than recording artists, but athletes specifically, you have to be humble because at any given moment, your situation can change. You're one play away from everything you worked all your life for being either gone or taken away or missed. You know?
Yes.
Think about it. Think about, for example, not only just an NFL player or NBA player, but if you're an Olympic athlete, you've been working for 25 years to get to this point where you're on the Olympic stage. And now you're in the final heat of the Olympics.
Yes.
And in that final heat of all the preparation that you've been doing, you have one minor slip up.
Boom.
No fault of your own. You could have slipped on a spot, just whatever. And in that split moment of hesitation can be the difference between you winning gold or nothing at all.
Wow.
Or still gold, and so you got to look at how finite of an opportunity that is. And so when you look at it from that way, it helps you to just realize that you better be appreciative of the moment that you're in.
Yes.
But don't celebrate too long because you got to stay focused. And sometimes if we celebrate too much, that's when we get a little off focus. So we take for granted that where we are. And then something as quick as, especially think about something as quick as a 100-meter dash.
Yeah.
That race is over with before it starts. And we were working with one of my longtime friends and former clients is Olympic gold medalist Justin Gatlin.
Yes, sir.
And when we took on Justin, it was after he had been suspended and he came back, and we used to represent one of his former training partners, Olympic gold medalist Sean Crawford.
Yes, sir.
And so when we started to represent Justin, everybody looked at us like, why y'all represent him? He's washed up,
Right.
He's doing good.
Right.
And I said, that man looked me in my eye, because he was living in Atlanta at the time, and looked me in my eye, told me what his plans were, and that he had got reinstated and everything, and he told me, he said, trust me, ride with me on this journey, and I'm going to be back to the top. Now, to be with that man and to see him go to being written off, to sending Usain Bolt into retirement with an L.
Come on.
That's what I'm talking about if you don't believe in the God that I serve, then that's on you. That's on you. Because
you better talk, man.
Justin could have quit. He could have said, "Oh no, woe with me," whatever.
Right.
But no, he ended up on the last hoorah of Usain Bolt.
Yep.
Dethroning that man and sending him home with not even a silver, but with a bronze. Because people forget that one of my church members, Christian Coleman, actually won the silver that year.
Yep. And Usain ended up pulling a hamstring too.
Yeah. So But Usain was it's a very interesting camaraderie or battle or whatever. And I would tell people, I say, you can't undo what Usain did, and I respect him. And we've actually partied with Usain after races. I mean, it's the funniest thing, but yeah, there's a certain amount of respect. When I tell people that nobody has more respect for Justin Gatlin than Usain Bolt, people always look at me like, okay, I say, trust me. Usain knew that every time he stepped on the track against Justin, as a matter of fact, so much so that if you really look at it, they haven't had a whole lot of races against each other. Even once Justin came back, they didn't have a whole lot of races against one another. There was a time when Justin went almost 2 years undefeated.
Yep. Yeah.
And he did, and I was like, and I told somebody that because he won the Golden Spikes Award or whatever. And people were like, how did he win this? I say that's because Usain selectively chose the races that he was in.
Yes, sir.
And matter of fact, one day Usain was in the 200, and Justin was in the 100. And so Justin was like, you know what? I'm gonna get into the 200 so I can give people what they want. Why did his camp find out and then switch up and took him out of the 200 and put him in the 100? Yep. He ran that race, and after that, he shut it down for the rest of the year.
Yep, that's true.
So, so it's like I was telling you, I said, because you look at the times that Justin was running that year, and Usain, trust me, he's a student of the sport.
Oh yes, he knows.
And he was looking those times and like, look, because I was telling somebody the good, the bad, the ugly is it's hard to motivate a rich man to go up there and run hills.
Right.
Okay. and so when Usain started getting all these big money endorsement deals and making all the money, he got a little high on the hog, and it's well documented. I'm not saying anything that's
You're telling the truth.
No, that's not. Usain, as naturally gifted as he is, he for all of his purposes, even from his own fellow countrymen, they called him lazy because he didn't have that dog in him to just train like a Justin or some of these other guys. He really didn't.
Right.
But what I do give him credit for is that he knew his body. One thing that Usain was good, he was good about pacing himself with his body to keep him ready and primed when it exactly. And so whereas a lot of the guys kind of overexerted themselves, they ran so much, and so Usain, he didn't run every meet. He didn't run because he was trying to intentionally kind of pace himself, and hey, it worked out. I mean, look at his record. You can't undo.
No, sir.
Those things. I remember in 2015. It was 2015 when Justin was on that tear, and he was actually favored to win at the World Championships.
Yep.
But in the finals, Justin had the crazy. He was winning. He was actually winning the race, and all of a sudden he had it was a crazy thing. He almost fell. Remember that?
He tightened up at the end. He had it. He had the race. He had the race.
And it wasn't even he tightened up. He literally, if you look at it, he literally almost fell and busted. It was like something on the track. I don't know, whatever. And because you look at the time he ran in the finals was slower than what he even ran than what Usain what he won in was slower than what Justin had ran the day before.
Yep, the prelims.
Yeah.
Exactly. But hey, that's just the way to go. They don't want to spend too much time on that.
But that's amazing because you're telling us stuff that other people don't know. I have one last question. How many years have you had your company?
Oh man, it's been 2 decades, man. It's been 2 decades. It's been a heck of a ride, and we're still growing. And there's other things that we're doing. I mean, outside of the athletes and entertainers, we also consult Fortune 500 companies, national not-for-profit organizations, as well as politicians. We've been consulting politicians for 2 decades as well. It's just that that's not the sexy work, I guess people say, whatever. So, but people more know us because of the the athletes and entertainers, but we do a lot with not-for-profits. Like National Coalition of 100 Black Women is one of the national not-for-profits we work with. We ran a campaign for a congressional client down in Florida, actually in Trump's backyard, down in West Palm Beach, last year. So, but yeah, we're kind of spread out to diverse.
So let me ask you this question. If people wanted to get in contact with you or even wanted to be represented by you, what is the process and how do they contact your company?
Simple. Just have them or their manager or agent or whatever, preferably them, because at the end of the day, as I said, we don't necessarily work for the agent.
Correct.
We work for the client.
Correct.
We're all integral parts. The agent's job is to make sure they got somewhere to run or to play. Our job is to take care of them off the track. And so some agents think that you work for them. It's like, no, I don't work for you. Now, granted, there are some agents that value us, and they actually retain us, and we work even closer with them. But for the most part, in the hierarchy of things, we're pretty much 99% of the time we're hired by the actual athlete, entertainer, recording artist, or whatever themselves. But yeah, we're easy to find on social media, on Instagram. It's simply Carlos Scott, and it has the link in there to our website, which is envisionmarketinginc.com. Same thing on Twitter. It's at envisionmarketing without the G. And on LinkedIn, we get a lot of people hit us up on LinkedIn on just simply Carlos Scott, and same thing on Facebook. So I'm not a hard guy to find. If you send me a DM, Robert even tell you I'll even see it.
So this is my last question.
Right.
This is my last question for you.
Good guy.
And this is here go. You ready for it?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say the name and you tell me what's going on and if you representing. Nene Leaks.
Oh no. Now I will say this in full transparency. Nene, I've known Nene since the start of Real Housewives, because our longtime client and like a sister to me is Lisa Wu, who was on the first 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And for transparency, before Nene got her team, we've actually made some money together, for crying out loud, because people would, reach out to us and say, hey, we're trying to get Lisa. We know you represent Lisa, but can you hook us up with Nene? So Nene was like, hey, if they got a bag, let's make this bag. And so there was a time when I've worked with Nene, I've worked with Sheree. One of our former clients is Demetria McKinney. We weren't representing her by the time she ended up being on Real Housewives, but she ended up being on there as well. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Nene, she's a colorful person. That's without a doubt. That's without a doubt. But I think what people don't give Nene her credit for is
she hustles.
Housewives of Atlanta is the biggest franchise in that whole franchise.
Yep.
And every other network is actually looking for another Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so I remember when they started out and what those salaries were and what they ended up escalating, and Nene actually ended up becoming like the highest paid of all of them, because she figured it out from a standpoint of people fell in love with Nene and just the character, that kind of loudmouth person, opinionated black woman. Now, I mean, all of us, we know plenty of loudmouth black women, so it wasn't nothing new for us to see a black woman.
Right.
But you got to realize a lot of white people don't know black people like that, so for them to see this loud opinion, it was like, wow, like who is this? Right. So, but as I often say, and I've even told Nene personally, that's fine. You just got to know when they laughing with you and when they laughing at you. That's so. But yeah, I mean, but Nene, she's doing her thing. Look at the opportunity she's had as an actress outside of there, and so I mean, but and then look at even Candy from Escape.
Yes.
Candy, I give her credit. Candy has taken that opportunity.
Man.
And if we just want to be from a brand, I'm putting my branding hat on now.
Yes. I was
From
going to
a
ask you about
branding
branding.
perspective, from a branding perspective, Candy could have walked into. Matter of fact, I've seen this. I've seen Candy walk into Lenox Mall on a Saturday before Housewives, and 5 people noticed her. 3 of them said something, and 1 of them asked for a picture or autograph. Okay. Candy can't even walk into any mall in America right now without somebody knowing her.
Wow.
Yeah.
And wanting, you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so, but bigger than just the fame, Brandy is about that coin. And so she's been able to monetize her brand
Yes.
by, like, she got the bedroom Candy. She's got the, the podcast. She's got other things. She's done Broadway. She's done some other things. So you got to give her credit.
Yes.
She's got a restaurant now. Matter of fact, she got several restaurants.
Yes.
Let's just call it what it is. Without Housewives of Atlanta, Candy doesn't get an opportunity to do those restaurants that people be gravitating, because at the end of the day, most of America didn't care what Candy was doing before Real Housewives of Atlanta, because they looked at her as, okay, she was a cute back in the 90s,
Right.
but we don't, that she's had her day.
Right. I agree.
But being on Housewives opened her up to a whole nother fan base
Yes.
that really did not know her personally like that. They might have knew about her in passing with some of the hits, but it was like, okay, it's cute, but they didn't care.
Right.
But her being on that type of platform and being in front of millions of views every weekend, you just can't.
She
ignore
took that
that.
branding
She
genius.
took it and ran. Now, what gospel artists have you worked with or do you represent?
Demetri McKinney actually was and still is a diehard gospel fan and loves singing gospel. We represent the group, multi-platinum Grammy Award-winning group 112. Matter of fact, we were their first ever marketing and PR firm.
Wow.
And so, that's something that we can always hang our hat on. And those guys, a little golden nugget, they actually got their start singing gospel.
Right.
And so Q Parker
Yep.
has a gospel project out right now.
Yep.
So he's not a client, but he's still like a brother to me.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a gospel project out now. I think it was E1. I think he partnered with.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just it's always great to partner with them. And I'm a fan of the Tasha Cobbs and the Kirk Franklins and just other people. I'm a church boy. I'm a choir boy. I grew up singing in the choir.
Right.
So I had no choice.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
brother, we want to thank you so much for giving us this
Oh,
time.
yes,
We
this
know
was
that you're
magnificent.
on your way to lay one of your loved ones to rest, but we want
Yes,
to thank you so
unfortunately,
much for
Yeah.
coming on. We want to get back with you again and to also be able to talk to some more of your clients.
Yes.
Let you know that you have a home right here at GOD Radio 1, and we want to thank you
problem.
for all that you do. I'm going to play a song by one of our sisters. I believe, where's Sylvia at?
Sylvia is in Chicago area,
Uh-huh.
but she's from Mississippi, but she grew up in Arkansas.
Man, I think you're going to like this one. This song is called Destiny,
This is perfect for you, Carlos, and
Okay.
you and I are going to stay in
Okay.
touch.
right here on GOD
No
Radio
problem.
1.
No problem.
.com.
May God continue to have favor on everything you guys touch.
Thank you, my brother.